Hi everyone and welcome back. In today's lesson we are going to learn how to find the lowest common divider when we have an equation that contains fractions. Now here is the example, and as you can see I left out the numerators because we find the lowest common divider by looking at the denominators. So our first step is to factorize these denominators because there are pluses and minuses in them. So this 5x plus 10 will become 5 and in brackets x plus 2 because it has a common 5. And this is a quadratic trinomial. So when we factorize it, it becomes x plus 2, x plus 1. And this 2x plus 4 has also a common 2, so that becomes 2 and in brackets x plus 2. Now this is not a lesson about factorization, I just want to show you how we can find the lowest common divider. So here is the steps. Since we factorized already, now we start to look at these values or these numbers which are called coefficients, the ones in front of all the brackets and the variables. So the 5 and the 2, we start by looking at them and we find the lowest common multiple of the 5 and the 2. Now the lowest common multiple between 5 and 2 is a 10, and we include the 10 in our lowest common divider. There we go. Now, for variables and brackets, we work our way from left to right. And when you see one that is not in our LCD already, we have to put it into the LCD. So here we go. We start with this bracket, x plus 2. Well, it's not in our lowest common divider yet, so I now include it here. There we go. Then we work our way to the right. There's a x plus 2. It's already there, so I don't include it again. There's a x plus 1. It's not in the LCD yet, so I'm going to include it now. There we go. This 2, we already looked at it when we looked at the number values, and now we look at the bracket again, x plus 2, and it's already there, so we don't include it again, and that is our lowest common divider for this example. Easy, right? Now let's look at the next one. So here is the equation. There we go. And as you can see, we don't have pluses or minuses in our denominators, so we don't need to factorize. We can simply find the lowest common divider. So we start with our numbers, which is 4, 2, and 3, the coefficients. Okay, again, 4, 2, and 3. And the lowest common multiple between 4, 2, and 3 is a 12. And we include the 12. There we go. Now we start with the variables and we work ourselves from left to right. So there's an x, I have to include the x. There we go. Then we go to the right. This is an x squared. Now we're not going to take the entire x squared and put it in because it's also an x. But we always have to include the most of the x's that exist. Now this is an x squared and this was just an x. So this x becomes an x squared. Got it? And then we go to the right again, there's a y, we have to include it, and that is our lowest common divider. Now, the third example. Here we have the equation, and it's already factorized. So all that we need to do is find the lowest common divider. So we start with the coefficients, which is a 4 and a 2, and the lowest common multiple between 4 and 2 is a 4. There we go. Then we have only brackets, there's no other variables, so we work our way from left to right. So here's an x plus 2, we include it in the LCD. There we go. Then there's an x plus 2, it's already there, so we don't include it again. There's an x plus 1, it's not in the LCD yet, so we're going to include it in the LCD. There we go. And then we go to the right again. Here is the x plus 2 in brackets squared. We already have an x plus 2, but it's only one of them. The most that exists in the denominators is x plus 2 to the power of 2. So this x plus 2 becomes to the power of 2. And there we go. And this will be our lowest common divider for this example. So I hope you could follow, and let's go and look at one last example. Now here is another example, and we also want to find the lowest common divider. So in the following example, as you can see, the denominators are already factorized, so now we can simply just find the LCD. So we start with the coefficients, which is 4, 2 and 3, and the lowest common multiple between 4, 2 and 3 is a 12. There we go. So we're done with the coefficients. Now we work our way from left to right by looking only at the variables and the brackets. So here we have a x plus 1. It's not in our LCD yet, so I need to include it. There we go. Then I go to the right and we have a x squared plus 1. This is a completely different bracket to this one. This is a x plus 1. This is a x squared plus 1. Because it's completely different, we also have to include it. And there we go. And then as we go to the right, here is a y, we have to include the y, and then we also go to this bracket, which is a x plus 1 squared. Now you know what to do, because this is only x plus 1 to the power of 1. We always have to include the most of that bracket that exists. So this x plus 1 will become a x plus 1 squared, and that is our lowest common divider. Now what I like to do is, since this y is right at the back, I like to rewrite this, so I will put this y between the 12 and the bracket, and then it looks like this. 12y in brackets x plus 1 squared, and then in brackets x squared plus 1. And there we go. And that is all there is to it. Now this is very important once we start to work with equations that contains fractions. See you again. Bye.